Well, we got beat by the number 17. I think the number 17 team in the country. And I think they showed us a little glimpse of why they're 17. They're big, they're athletic, they're strong, they're super quick, they're a veteran. Taylor Scaife is a sophomore, and at one point I looked at on the floor and we had 3 freshmen and sophomores. So we're a lot different in terms of being inexperienced than they are. But I thought that our players did a tremendous job, particularly in the first half. Defensively, we knew that it was going to be a challenge to be on the boards, but I think they've out-rebounded every one of their opponents. So the key on the board wasn't to control it. It was just to try to keep it as even or close to as we could. We didn't do that, but I thought we battled, particularly in the first half, and did a lot of nice things defensively. And then I thought the 3 threes that Hernandez had right there in the second half, I thought that broke her back a little bit in the second half and took some momentum away from us, and we just couldn't recover. So got beat by a really, really good basketball team. That's a Hall of Fame coach over there on the other side, and I think that we'll learn from this. We'll get better because of it. We have a ways to go. I can't make them seniors and juniors. The only thing that we can continue to do is keep teaching them how to compete and do a better job with some of our miscues we had on the defensive end, because I would suspect that you're going to see us play a lot of zone as we move forward in the Big Ten season.
What was it? How did Hernandez kind of get open on those 3 threes?
It's a good question, John. I have to take a look I think it was in transition. And we knew going into this, they're not, their deal is not, they're not going to beat you from the 3-point line. They got 2 shooters exclusively, and she being the best one of the 2. Essence Davis was the other kid that we had on the board that has taken a lot of threes, but Hernandez was the one that we knew we had to come out and guard at the 3-point line, and it was just a matter of us. I thought our energy level in the first half, I thought we were flying around, I thought we were bouncier in the first half than we were. I think as the course of the game went on, we lost the energy. They weren't in front of us. So we couldn't give them the energy that we could give them in the first half with our encouragement of, where they needed to be and where their slides were and where cutters were and so forth. So that's what we're going to have to get better at. When we come out of halftime, they're not in front of us defensively, and they're going to have to take ownership in being able to coach each other through segments, through possessions, and that's an area that we'll talk about, and hopefully you'll see us improve.
You talked about their strength and physicality. Being a smaller team, do you think that it all wore them down in the second half?
I think without a doubt, I think their quickness. You can make some mistakes when you're just athletic and get yourself back into plays. Whether you gamble, you can still. It just seemed like anything we tried to do, whether it was, and we weren't great at screening today, and that's another area that we've got to clean up. We've got to be able to take a lot of pride in getting each other open. But anytime we had any screening action, they were there. Now they were switching there in the second half. They ended up switching 1 through 4. So they were there on the catch, which made it more difficult, which, in that case, you want your team to be aggressive and try to put it on the deck a little bit more and try to get to the basket and maybe manufacture some points off the free throw line. But we have to continue to watch film and understand that as we go down the Big Ten, we're going to be there's tremendous coaches in this league. Everybody scouts and has tremendous preparation for each other, and so we're going to have counters to some of the things that we do offensively. When good teams and great defensive teams take away some of the things that we like to do.
And Laird was able to drive and kick. It just seemed like some of those shots weren't falling.
You're right. You know, I think that anybody, and I know all of you guys have watched us play, we shoot it better than we did today. And I thought Laird did a great job in the first half, in particularly of being able to get in the inside, the guts of the defense and kick it out. They just weren't falling. Taylor had a couple, I think Jess had a couple that just wouldn't go down for us. And you know, those are opportunities for us to again show them on film that this is a good shot, and we're going to continue. And I told them at halftime, you know, we had shot it so poorly, you know, to kind of keep the faith, that I thought we could shoot it better in the second half because we had shot it so poorly in the first. You know, I don't know that happened, but you know, I just felt like our kids needed to hear that we got some really good shots. They just didn't fall for us in the first half. But you know, we'll continue to probably go through series or segments of periods of time where it's hard to find our shot, and that's when again you have to manufacture some of those things. And when you shot outside shots not falling, you got to rely on putting it on the deck and trying to make it, you know, aggressive moves at the basket, or get the ball inside, which again today was difficult for Jen. I mean, she was, I guess, undersized. You know, I think that kid, that's safe to say, fair to say, Jen's our biggest kid we have. But this afternoon she was undersized.
There was one time in the first half where Alexis Gassman was the only IU player in the paint getting a rebound. How nice is it to be able to rely on her to go in and make those kind of puzzles?
Well, it's great that, you know, that's not really what you want, just one kid in the paint getting rebounds for you, but, you know, Alexis is just, she gives us she's so versatile, and we're playing her out of position right now, but, you know, the thing about Lex is she'll do anything you ask her to do, and she's a terrific athlete. And you know, right now she's really giving us great minutes at the 4. We saw her there in the second half. You know, she's a hard matchup, you know, for other teams, opposing teams, when they have to have their true 4 players play her because she's a guard. We're trying to get her to flip a switch and be more aggressive and putting it on the floor and trying to get to the basket. She did that. She got to the free throw line, but that's not enough. We need her to do that more. You know, at one point, you know, like I said, you need to look out there and you have 3 freshmen on the floor. You know, it's the future's bright, but it's a little bit daunting when you're going against some of those kids that are juniors and seniors out there in Rutgers.
I think there was a sequence there where just a couple possessions on the floor, you guys are kind of slipping, and the ball was kind of coming out.
Right.
I mean, is that being flustered or just a level?
I think it was. You know, I think that they turned up the heat. There was no doubt there in the second half. I thought there was periods in the first half, right towards the end of the 20 minutes, that they turned it up, and then they came out and really turned it up. And that was probably, you know, Coach Stringer getting into them a little bit and telling them that you know, they had to get up and make us uncomfortable. You know, I credit that to them. I mean, they're like I said, incredibly athletic and fast, and really got up in our space and made us uncomfortable at times. But again, I was, you know, it happened on a few occasions, but I was overall, you know, pretty proud of the way that our guards handled themselves. You know, I think anytime anybody's in your space like that, the best thing to do is try to rip and drive and get past them and put the pressure on the officials. And I thought we did that from time to time. And so, no, on occasion we lost the ball and turned it over 21 times, which is not like us. But you know, credit Rutgers.
I mean, going up personally against a coach like Vivian Stringer, I mean, what do you expect?
Well, just that, you know, when I played, you know, she was at Iowa at the time, so, you know, she's, I tell you what she's been able to do. And again, you know, when she was at Iowa, it's like, when I got into the Big Ten, Purdue and I were at the bottom of the Big Ten, you know, and then she arrived. And then she turned that whole program around. And then Lynn Dunn arrived at Purdue, and she turned that whole program around. You know, one of the things about Rutgers is back in the NAIA days, they won a national championship. There's been some tradition there, but it fell off once it became NCAA. And she's building Rutgers to be that, another very, very special program. And so I think what you do from a coach's perspective is you watch and you know, recruiting obviously is a lot what she's done. I mean, her players are, like I said, I started off athletic, big, you know, hopefully we will move in that direction. You know, I want a nice blend of athleticism. I want to be able to shoot it as well as we can, but I think that there's something to having a well-balanced team that has athleticism as well as you know, kids that can flat out shoot it. And so we'll move forward. We'll you know, she's just a tremendous coach. She's a Hall of Fame coach. So you know, what she's done is she's done it right. She's built it the right way based on recruiting the kids that suit her system, and that's defensively oriented. You know, that's a great direction, you know, for us, for my staff, for our players, but particularly for my staff to get a snapshot of the first team in the Big Ten and what that looks like. And in order to compete and be at the top of the Big Ten, that's what we have to do. We have to go out and don't get me wrong, I love my team, but we have to add to our basketball team some athleticism. You know, some of those pieces that could match up better with their pieces today. We were clearly the more undersized team out there.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.